Hello, I'm Arman Khodaei, a 25-year-old with high-function autism. Today I'm going to be talking about obstacles pertaining to autism and how to overcome these obstacles. I'm going to be discussing obstacles that individuals with autism face, obstacles that parents face, obstacles that teachers face, my own personal obstacles that I'm facing at the moment, and obstacles that we face as a community, and I'm going to discuss ways that we can overcome these obstacles. So first, the obstacles of autism as to pertain to individuals with autism. The most obvious obstacle is, of course, social interaction. For some, I know that there's a great desire to develop these friendships, these bonds, to either just have good friendships, to maybe find a lifetime partner. And for others, there's just no care. But from the parents' perspective, it's absolutely horrible for their child because they're not socializing. There's, for some people with autism, they want to know how to do it, but talking to people, it takes too long. They don't, it's hard to process how to react in these situations. Or we have very odd gestures. We could be rocking, or we could have our back towards the person. For a lot of people with autism, we don't understand the body language. We don't understand the facial expressions, especially because for some of us we don't make eye contact. So social skills are a big obstacle for many of us. One of the things that I believe, though, is that for us, we perceive it as being an unknown entity, like it's always unpredictable, every situation is brand new. But I believe that actually human interaction is very limited in scope, and it's just disguised to look complicated. What I mean by this is that, there's only so many situations that one can encounter. Either there's a common hi and bye greeting situation, either there's the situation where one tries to get information out of the other person, like you're just meeting someone, you're trying to get to know them. There's a very limited amount of situations overall. And so I think that psychology and understanding people, for people with autism to study psychology and interpersonal communication and read up on how to communicate with people, I believe that these barriers can be greatly reduced as well. Obviously applying, like reading social skills books, applying what has been said. I've discussed this in other videos, but I'm restating it again because it's a point that needs to be restated for that reason. Then there's there's sometimes our mental obstacles for people with autism. Sometimes we just can't understand certain things. The mental obstacles can also be social related, like understanding humor. Sometimes we take things too seriously. Sometimes we take things literally. Like, you can say the sky is falling, and someone with autism might think literally that the sky is falling. And numerous times I've taken things very literally, and people have given me strange looks and everything as a result of that. Other mental obstacles. Some people with autism excel at math, but yet understanding language, being able to read, is extremely challenged. Other people with autism, they really excel at language. They learn how to speak 20 languages, and they can. But then other aspects, mentally, it's a challenge. It's like you have this person who is super intelligent in one area, but then in other areas they're dumb, to say the least. And I've been in that place. There have been areas where I've been very weak in mentally. And so I'm not saying this to be insulting or anything like that. How to overcome these mental challenges is just to, look into things that increase one's ability to process information, which can also help the social abilities. There are, like, taking up things to do speed reading, or things to increase the ability to be productive. Mentally productive. I think that when you increase the brain speed, that you can think quicker. You can start figuring out other things that have been a challenge before. Also maybe doing some creative endeavors like drawing, painting, etc. will open up the brain more as well. And also meditation, because when you meditate, you kind of let go. And I think when you start to let go a little bit, new things can start to come in. So those are, some of the obstacles with autism. I mean, when someone has autism, there are a great many deal of obstacles, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, parent obstacles. As a parent, I have to say, I mean, if you're a parent, my heart really goes out to you, because you have a great deal of obstacles, and you feel like one obstacle is sometimes you feel like other people can't understand you until you find other parents have an autistic child. And that can be a great obstacle, you have the societal pressure, you might have, parents that are not understanding, you might even have a spouse that is not understanding of your child, you have teachers that are not understanding. And in terms of people that are not understanding, who say your child should be a certain way, the best thing to do is just to develop a thick skin, which could be a challenge. And to do what is in your best interest of your child. What is in your best interest of your child is staying true to your child. Welcoming your child into your life unconditionally. And that is the greatest challenge to overcome, but that is, if you are to welcome your child unconditionally, join them. I believe that a lot of these obstacles will fade away, and that your child will grow at an exponential rate. Other challenges that I believe you parents face, you obviously face the school system, which could be a great challenge, trying to get the best education for your child, trying to get your child mainstreamed. How to overcome that, you just got to be persistent and not mean. You have to be, thick, but you have to also have the right attitude when handling that. Teacher obstacles. I mean, as a teacher, you have a great deal of students, and it can be extremely challenging, especially if the autistic child is mainstream, or if you just have a lot of special education children, to provide the best education for someone with autism. I mean, someone with autism, they could be biting themselves, they could be throwing a tantrum, they could be banging their heads against the wall, they could be disobeying orders, and it can be a challenge. Sometimes, as a teacher, you don't know what the right work to give them is, or you're an special education teacher, and you just give them the same work over and over again. People with autism, though, many of them are very intelligent, and they need to be constantly pushed. I know for some of you special education teachers, it can be a great challenge to handle all these different students. But there are deaf students who are very intelligent and who are in the same classroom setting, and they need to get appropriate work, not necessarily easy work, which happens a lot of times. We get all these disabled kids together, and we give them all this third grader work when they're in the 9th grade, and that is, I'm not blaming you, the teachers, but it is unacceptable. I don't know how this problem stems, if it stems from because it happens all the way back in elementary school, but our children, they need to be constantly pushed. There are blind children, and they're not getting the proper education either. If they have a disability that is not like mental retardation or something like that, push them. Keep pushing them. Even if they do have those limits, try to push them. The thing to do is to try to stay calm, to do meditation again. I also recommend this for the parents, because meditation will offer you calmness, and I believe you'll be able to tackle more of these challenges that you perceive as a teacher. Alright. So I'm trying to keep this video as short as possible. So my personal obstacles. At the moment, my biggest obstacle is trying to get my website up. I'm trying to figure out how to get the 2 online support groups started up. Because with my online groups, I want to have either like a phone conference or a Skype or something, and I plan on having it up for you next week. And so those are obstacles right now for me. Those are like the biggest obstacles on my mind. Just figuring out my autism groups. I'm restarting a group on Monday, a live group. I have a talk this Wednesday. Of course, that's not that big of an obstacle. I've given lots of talks before. Other obstacles, I guess, meeting people. Yeah, that could be a challenge. Meeting women, that's an obstacle, because I haven't been doing that. Though I don't know if all these new autism groups, if I necessarily want to do that. Maybe I should try to do that, because if I get too caught up with all this, I'm not going to have any outside social life. I'll just be running all these groups or whatever. And of course, continuing to push myself to be an example and to show and to constantly improve my social skills, to show others what is possible for autism. And so I've been reading up books, and I will continue to do that. And social skills is a major area of importance to me. And now, for the last part, community obstacles. As a community, an autism community, the biggest thing that I've actually started to notice is that there seems to be different factions among the autism community. There's the parents, and then there's people of autism who are high function or have Asperger syndrome. Then there are those who are all about attacking the vaccinations. Then there are those who really don't care, they just want the best for their child. And then there's conflict because we have disagreements, and then there's sometimes attacking. Every now and then I receive some messages that are not necessarily the nicest in nature. Sometimes I've had parents complain to me because of me being so high functioning, saying I don't understand what it is like for the lower functioning children, or I sometimes get hateful messages like that. The truth is that while I don't know 100% what it is like for someone with low function autism, I have had high function autism, and so I can know to an extent why they have some of the traits that they do, why they behave the way that they do, what's going through their mind to an extent. And I've even worked with some low function autistic children, and I know how they appear on the outside. So I'm not as ignorant as some of you parents might think. But we need to stop blasting each other and getting upset at each other. The attacking is not conductive to a strong community. We are supposed to be working together. Another thing, is that there's a lack of cohesion, it seems, at times. We have our autism walks that are done through Autism Speaks. There's some groups here and there. There's a lot of smaller groups, and who all serve similar functions and things like that. And then there's a lot of good ideas that haven't made it across. There are a lot of good ideas that are only starting up in like only Los Angeles you can go and get that, or only like New York City. There's a lot of great ideas that have not taken over the rest of the United States or even the rest of the world, and that is why. So cohesion, community cohesion, getting ideas across, there's the whole Miracle Project, the acting thing for autism. There's a lot of therapies that are only Los Angeles based, and I've talked to people all throughout the United States and all over the world, and you can't get these things. So as a community, there needs to be more cohesion, more coming together. There needs to be clearer goals for the community, and things need to start clicking together. It seems like even though there's a lot of information that's been coming within the last 10 years or last 5 years, it still seems like we're kind of still in the Stone Ages in some regards. The best way for these community obstacles to go away is just for everyone stepping up to the plate, for us communicating, thinking about what's the best ideas for all of us. And it is not a simple task, but it's something that can be done. And I feel like that there's something big that needs to happen that hasn't happened yet. I don't know what this is just yet, but I feel like there's something else that as a community, or something that needs to be done, and I don't know what that is just yet. Maybe I'll come up with it, but there's a new level we can go to as a community, and I believe that it would greatly enhance all of our lives. Anyway, I thank you for watching this video, and I wish all of you a most awesome day of awesomeness. Thank you.